we discover a girl with a ring on or whatever, we're going to call timeout as a jewelry violation, but you're not going to lose your picture. What we're doing is we're giving the coach the option of calling the timeout. It will always be you that is deciding that you're losing your pitcher for the rest of the game. Does everybody understand that?
Can you say that again?
Okay, you get one timeout without penalty. If you call 2 timeouts, you're going to lose your pitcher for the rest of the game in that half inning. Okay, well, with jewelry and uniform timeouts, if we call one and you have not called one, this, we're going to turn and say that's a timeout for the home team. Now, in that same half inning, if you come out and want to call a timeout, you're going to lose your pitcher. What's different is if you've already called a timeout and then we discover jewelry or uniform violation, you're not going to lose your pitcher because it's not something that the other team has brought to our attention or it's not something the umpire has done to make you lose your pitcher. It's always going to be you as the coach calling the second timeout. Because in the past, we changed this because years ago, especially at state, if a coach would see something and as soon as you called a timeout, the non-opposing team, the non-offending team would go to the umpire and say, hey, that girl's wearing something she shouldn't be wearing. And you would lose your pitcher. We did away with that. So it's always the coach is the one who will be the one responsible for losing your pitcher for the game. Remember scorekeepers. We went over scorekeepers a little bit, but remember you're an official of the game. Just like the home plate umpire, the umpire on the field. You may not talk on the cell phone while you're up keeping score. Shouldn't even have one up there. You do not confer with coaches, players, parents. If for some reason you know they're kicking out of order, which you should know they're kicking out of order, you cannot tell anyone. You don't tell the umpire. I don't want to know. The only time I want to know is when the non-offending team comes up and says, I think they're kicking out of order. And then I'll turn to you and say, are they kicking out of order? Who should be up? And you go, yeah, number 44 should be up. And number 20 is up. And here's where it's different. If you know a girl's kicking out of order and you bring that to the attention of the umpire and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes, the only thing we're going to do is put the right kicker in. So if 44 is in the circle and 22 should be in the circle, we'll say, and that's what the official scorekeeper tells me, because 22, come up, you get in the circle, you have 2 balls, 2 strikes, 44, you go to the dugout. There's no out. If 44 has gotten a kick and is standing at first base and you bring it up to me, and we have the same scenario, we're going to say 22 should have been kicking, 22 you're out, 44 go to the dugout. Does everybody understand?
And you lose that base runner, right?
Correct. The only thing is who are we going to go to now? I'm going to ask the scorekeeper who should be up next.
Called 22 out, so 44 should get back to kick.
44 may go right back in the circle and kick again.
If she's the next girl in the lineup, yeah.
Depends
Yeah.
who is the next kicker up.
Right.
Making sure I've gone over everything with y'all. Oh, one other thing.
But now you as going back to that kicker, say if your team, your side is up kicking, you as the head coach can say, hey, I need to get the right kicker in there.
Sure.
Before any appeal or anything.
Sure. Yeah, as long as
Even if it's a 2-2 count.
2-2 count, we'll do the same thing.
Okay.
We'll put the right girl in, and she assumes that count.
The other coach should wait to see if she gets on base
Yeah,
or not.
if you know a team is kicking out of order, you got a little room there. If you know the other team is kicking out of order, you want to wait until they get a runner on base. We're only going to give one out. So if a girl makes an out and she's kicking out of order, you just hope that they're still kicking out of order, and when that girl gets the big kick, you go, hey, I think they're kicking out of order. As long as you do it before a pitch is made to the next girl kicking, because once that's done, all bets are off. We will not call interference if a girl kicks a home run over the fence. Defensive players can give her high fives. The coaches can give her a high five. The only thing you have to be careful of is if your girl, let's say you're the third base coach and your girl misses third base and you give her a high five. A lot of umpires are going to say that's interference because she's missed the base. If she's touched the base, you can give her a high five. No big deal. Because coaches, you know, even though you're not trying to have contact with a player, if they run into you, like if they overrun third and they stick their hands out and y'all just barely touch, she's out. No interference with players when the game is going on. After the play, you can come up, talk to them, give them a high five, whatever. We did go over about games that didn't reach regulation. They will be replayed from the beginning.
What about catcher interference?
Catcher interference only occurs if she enters the circle, if she lines up in front of the girl. I always, as a rule of thumb, is if a girl's head, if the catcher's head is in front of the back shoulder, because if a kicker can see her in her peripheral vision, that's interference. So if she gets up here and she's like even with her, that's interference. She has to be back a little bit. Now she can move up as the kicker moves up, not in the circle, but she can move up. You got to be careful as some of these girls will move up and then they step back. So move up and come back. So you're coming up and then the kicker goes back, now you're in front of her. So your catcher, because a lot of coaches, they like their catchers moving up with the kicker, so when they bunt or whatever, they're there to get it and throw it at the girl. That's catcher interference. What if we have a runner running toward first base and they're running in fair territory? They're running down this line. This is fair territory, this line. This is the runner's path here. So if they're running on the line, and a ball that's thrown in this area hits her above the waist, is she out?
If the intent was to throw to first, yes.
Very good. You have to determine, were they throwing at the player or were they throwing to first?